Hello and welcome to my introduction video for Dessem the Black Brush, or Dessem Black Brush, or just the Black Brush, or just Dessem Caladan. He is going to be my character in the Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game that excuse me started out professional, that we are going to start to be playing. Oh, for fuck's sake! Thank you. We're going to be start playing this week. Now, this video, I plan to do something similar like Grimmith did in his Brienne video. I'm going to basically talk at length about my character. A little bit of like what I might expect him to do, and like his circumstances and his relations to the other characters and the house and his story and such. So yeah, I will, because who knows what you're doing. Maybe you are flying an airplane, maybe you are out surfing, maybe you are just laying in bed and you don't really want to get up and read. So I shall read for you. Yes, my soothing voice shall travel all over your eardrums, and I will tell you all about Desim. So sit back and enjoy, basically. This is Desim. I had some trouble finding a good portrait for him. Luckily, Grimmith came through and threw me one of his that he has had in reserve in his folder for a long time, he told me. Not really used for anything, I think. So so this was a new portrait for me. I'd never seen before, and I wanted something that sort of conveyed Desim as a very intelligent yet very serious, older gentleman. And I think this portrait fits that perfectly. We'll say that a few days later, Malachi revealed his portrait for Maester Cole, and I thought that was like the best portrait in the history of ever. But this is Desim. His goal is power. He wants personal power. He wants more power for the house. We need to grow stronger, basically. House Caladan at the start of the campaign is in a bit of a battered state. We have been great ones, not so much anymore, and he really wants to change that. His motivation is excellence. If something is worth doing, it is worth doing well, according to Desim. And he strives to be excellent in all things he does, be it his paintings, be it his plotting, be it his diplomatizing. You should always try to perform at the utmost of your ability, according to Desim. That is like him when he is at his best. Is this very professional, meticulous, and skilled individual. His virtue is devotion. He really cares. Desim really cares. It's not always gonna show. He is a bit of has a bit of a cold exterior, but deep down he's a devoted individual, and he's devoted to his house and to his family. His vice is arrogance. He views himself as much more intelligent than those around him generally, and that makes him arrogant. He frequently talks down to people. Especially when he gets upset or similar, he can very heavily lean into his arrogance as a defense mechanism, and as a way of trying to sort of flatten any opponent he might have. Yeah. His tagline is, "You will make this battered house great with your cunning, diplomacy, and iron will." So yeah, who is Desim then? Well, Desim was born during House Caladan's stewardship of a high garden, about 40 to 50 years ago or so, and he was quickly schooled into the intricacies of high social life. He showed exceptional interest and aptitude for the craft, and during his early years he became quite proficient at navigating the bureaucratic labyrinths of courtly life. Thus, he was not fond of fighting or direct confrontation, but preferred to talk and trick his way through the political landscape. This led to how he first met his childhood sweetheart, Agatha, who was working as a handmaiden for 100 ladies at court. After a short courtship, they fell in love and initiated a clandestine romance. When House Caladan's duty was fulfilled and they withdrew back to Winter's Respite from Highgarden, Dessem convinced his mother Sigrun to bring back Agatha with them and take her as one of her new handmaidens. This later resulted in the affair becoming known between Desim and Agatha, and although some conflict and protest ensued because Agatha was, not strictly speaking, born of a noble family, not really born of any family at all, but of flowers, which in the Reach means that she is a bastard. Their relationship was in the end accepted, and they were allowed to marry for real at the age of 20. This was in part possible because Desim was quite far away from controlling the house. He wasn't in line for a seat or anything. There was way more sons in the way for him to to get into the position, and so some leeway was granted to him. It wasn't likely that he was going to rule the house anyway. So why don't let the poor boy have his loved one. And after numerous hardships and 3 children, the union between Desim and Agatha lasts to this day. Then down the line, when Lorne the villain Caladan started hinting his true ambitions to take over the house, Desim was one of the first to caution his brother Aeron and urged him to take care of the problem before it would get out of hand. Aeron did not, however, listen to this advice, which was most likely his brotherly affection clouding his judgment over the matter. When Lorne shortly afterwards violently took control of the house and started his pogroms, Desim became afraid for both his life and his family's. With such a dire situation hanging over him, he knew that he would have to be more direct and take matters into his own hands. With the help of Weapon Master Golt and Maester Koll, he devised a plot to try to assassinate Lorne when he was in his bath. During the execution of this plan, he made a crucial mistake which alerted Lorne to his presence, and the violent struggle that ensued between the 2 Caladan brothers almost cost Desim his life. But in the end, he managed to slay Lorne and free Aeron from his brother's torture cells. This act of kinslaying taught Desim much in terms of physical pain and the necessity of sacrifice. He had saved his loved ones and his house, but he had also attracted ire in the eyes of the gods. To this day, the circumstances surrounding this event is kept deliberately clouded. If it were to be public knowledge that he is a kinslayer, there would be political repercussions. Kinslaying is one of the worst crimes you can commit in Westeros. But it is being kept under wraps still, which is good. Despite this effort, the small folk have gathered that Desim somehow was instrumental in ending the tyranny of his late brother, even if they don't exactly know the details. Maybe they think he was sent off to the wall. Maybe they think he was sent over the narrow sea. Maybe they think he was convinced to leave or disappear in some other way. They're not sure. But every year on the day of the event, a basket filled with fruits and foods shows up at Desim's door as a symbol of gratitude, which reminds him of the brutal deed. But more importantly, about the better future he wants for his family. The following years after the event was also when Desim's art started to slowly morph into a more eerie and unnerving style from his usual. His skill at painting had always been recognized as vivid and very lifelike, but now it had also become disturbingly haunting. His old admirers withdrew, but he acquired other interested parties who were more appreciative of the darker and more macabre works that he now produced. As his art has become quite famous and infamous over the Reach, and is very evocative. It is generally sought after. Sometimes his paintings are commissioned as a prank gift around the Reach, but being given one of his modern works on one's wedding night often causes as much uproarious laughter from the guests as it does pain grimaces from the bride and groom. During the mourning process after his third son Matthew had died very young, shortly after being born, he did decide to leave the castle for a time to do some traveling, to collect his thoughts and feelings. During a stop to one of the local markets, he chanced upon a young white raven in a cage. Something drew him towards the bird, and he suddenly had an overwhelming feeling that this raven was somehow connected to his perished son. The feeling was fleeting, but after it had passed, he felt a strange and meaningful connection with the bird. He purchased it at great expense and brought it home, planning to free it from its captivity and into the open skies. Curiously enough, the raven refused to leave his presence, and instead stayed with him through the years, seemingly keeping an eye out for him and guarding him on occasion. Even though Desim is not a superstitious man, he felt that fate or the gods or both had a hand in the meeting with the bird, and has since forged a very unlikely bond with it. He has named the white raven Kvaler, and now it follows his person and has become a loved and trusted companion. Kvaler's eyes betray the beast's obvious intelligence, and its imperious cawing often heralds Desim's arrival at court or down the corridors. The most recent assault on House Caladan was, without question, the unsurprising but devastating Peak invasion. During this time, Desim organized the war intelligence before turning his attention to the diplomatic efforts to gather allies in order to counter Peak's ambitions. He spent a lot of time on out traveling to be able. Let's see, that's a misspelling. Sorry. Out traveling. I'm not a native speaker, so there might be some weirdness in the language here. I hope you guys can live with that. If not, well, too bad, I guess. So yeah, during the Peak invasion, Desim spent a lot of time traveling, and was able to visit the surrounding houses and enlisting their aid, while Sir Alaric, his dear cousin, led the military campaign at home. The event left the realization on Desim that House Caladan is in a much more precarious situation than ever before, and he now fervently seeks to improve House Caladan's standing and power. For this purpose, he teaches the children of Aeron Caladan in the courtly ways of intrigue and diplomacy, while grooming them for command. Peak is gone for now, but Desim anticipates that one day Lord Tyrell's protection might become more lax, which would give Peak the opportunity to strike again. But this time, Peak would not get away with it. Appearances. A wiry man in his mid to high 40s. His facial features are somewhat haggard and stern, telling the story of a hard yet privileged life. His eyes constantly dart around as if he is taking notes of everything around him. But when you meet his gaze, it has a very piercing focus to it. His graying hair is long, and but he shows no signs of balding. His motions are sharp and precise, with no exaggeration, giving him a strict and reserved feel, and there is often an air of melancholy around him. His personality, well, it is multi-layered, but summed up like such. He is molded by the myriad difficult choices and painful experiences of his life. Combining this with his calculating mind has given Desim the personality of being cold, calculating, and cynical. But he is at heart a deeply caring individual that does love his family deeply. He has a burning passion to see his family rise to power and claim vengeance on those that wrong them. He expects the best from people around him, and can be very critical of perceived foolishness and incompetence. He views himself as of superior intellect, which feeds into his arrogance, and is something he does acknowledge about himself. Like, he knows that this is the problem. Right, character relationships. We have Nima Ryan, which is Tina's Bravosi assassin, hermaphrodite character. Due to his mysterious background and skill, Desim keeps an eye on her. She has been sent to help the house, for which he is grateful. Although she's not part of the family, which Desim sees as problematic and as a boon at the same time. What really makes her accepted by Desim is the work she does with Brienne. We have Sir Alaric Caladan, played by Halldamir. The relationship here is amiable. Being the other grown-up in a house filled with deranged old men and damaged children makes it so that doesn't count on him for much. Adding to that, that Alaric's coming to the house in the time of need during the Peak invasion made Desim appreciate the knight's presence and expertise, and he entrusts the safety of the house's members to him. Alaric's somewhat liberal mindset towards partying and women is something Desim does not appreciate, but as long as Alaric performs when it is needed, Desim will tolerate such things. So far, he has not yet had cause to regret it. We have Lannis Caladan, played by DDS. Desim views Lannis as the most vital piece in his Game of Thrones, and as such constantly harries him with his responsibilities and duties. But he also feels for his young nephew and genuinely wants him to succeed and be happy. Although, preferably in that order. You can succeed first, my nephew, and then you can be happy. You know, priorities. Brienne Caladan, Grimmit's character, doesn't feel guilty for her imprisonment. For all of his cunning and smarts, he couldn't really save her. He has tried on several occasions to reconnect with the girl that she once was, but has found that she is dead and gone. Instead, he sees a new girl, filled with rage and all thorns pointed outward. He cares for her, but he's not sure how to treat her, really. The training she's doing with Nima has improved her a lot, and Desim is thankful for it. Her thorns and idiosyncrasies are tolerated out of the feeling that Desim owes her at least that, although he does expect her to perform as her duty dictate. Maester Call saved Agatha from dying in childbirth and Desim's leg after he fought and killed Lorne Caladan. Maester Call also keeps Aeron alive, which means that he is keeping Peak at bay. He has also given good and sound advice over the many years he has been at the castle, and thus Maester Call has shown his skill and loyalty to the family and to Desim. Aeron Caladan, his deranged brother, well, he might be feeble and crazy, but he is still a brother. Desim saved him from Lorne's tortures and paid for it dearly. He pities his brother's condition and wishes there was something he could do to help him. Aeron is technically all that stands between House Caladan and House Peak, which makes him important to say the least, although the less actual influence the deranged brother has, the better. And then we have Agatha Flowers, Desim's darling wife and anchor. She keeps him in line, and he loves her for it. She has been through much with him, and him for her, and the true love that forged them together still holds. He never blamed her for the death of little young Matthew, but mourned wholeheartedly together with her. Their inability to have more children is a dark cloud, even though it has been growing more distant as the years have gone on. A union made by love and tempered by trials and tribulations, they enjoy a very happy marriage. Then we have Weaponsmith Galt. He helped perpetuate and cover up the murder of the villain Lorne. They drink with each other from time to time. And their shared history and memories have formed a lasting friendship between them. Desim seeks his advice and input from time to time as he trusts Galt's down-to-earth judgment and common sense. We have Aemon Caladan, which is the son of Desim, and he is in training at the Citadel to become a maester, which is something Desim is very proud of. He respects and encourages the boy's keen and inquisitive mind, and they correspond with letters often. Desim also has Alana Caladan, his daughter. She was the little flower of Desim's life, and like most fathers, he doted on her more than he perhaps should have. She is, as far as he knows at least, happily married to a son of House Dondarrion to the east. She loves sewing, and from time to time she sends a small articles of clothing that she has made in the classical Caladan style. Desim's particular favorite is a handkerchief and a cravat with the house coat of arms embroidered upon them, which he wears often. So yeah, that is that is a little bit of Desim. Excuse me, 2 seconds. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, that is Desim. Here's the character sheet. Don't know how much you see it, but yeah, I am. Desim is the old man of the house. He is the voice of reason, or he tries to be, because his brother is incapable of ruling. But if that ever comes out, it's going to be huge trouble, because then Peak can basically present the true heir of the house, which they have kept with them since the invasion. And so that is utter catastrophe and cannot be allowed to happen. Now, as for Desim's skills, I went for a very focused build with him. He is very he has a keen mind, which is reflected in his 5 in cunning. He's good at remembering things. He can decipher codes. He is good at talking, diplomatizing, deceit and deception, maneuvering of the political and the social landscape. Basically, he's very good at bluffing. He is very good at persuasion, which is where I poured most of my experience into. In my experience from the test game we did, the test adventure we did, persuasion seemed to be a skill I used quite a lot, and so to shore that up a bit seemed like a very good idea to me. He's also to like show his deep dedication. He also has a 5 in will, which makes him very difficult to convince or like win over in verbal intrigue combat. Basically, he is not very athletic. This comes from his old wound when he fought Lorne, and he does walk with a cane. We quite the limp. Although the limp is somewhat exaggerated, he can suppress it for a time to move quietly, if so needed. He has a 3 in stealth. But this makes it very painful for him. He needs to rest for a couple of hours after such exertions, usually. So yeah, he is a focused character. I also put a foreign knowledge and research some bonus die in there, because that reflects his many contacts and the many things he knows about the region and the reach. But yeah, he's made to be the spy master diplomat of the house. When it comes to qualities, he has the disturbing habit. I've talked about this before. He's an artist. He has keen senses, and he has an animal cohort, which is his white raven Qualler. He is similar to what I played in the test game. I did enjoy that type of character, and since both Tina and Grimmeth wanted to play some like sneaky assassin type characters, I knew I couldn't really play that as well. That would be a bit too much. And since no one else really wanted to take up the mantle of the verbal sword of the house, then I guess that the role fell to me once again. As I said, Desim he feels a bit alone. He is surrounded by people who supports him, of course, but in the end, he has run House Caladan for many years now, and he has done so with like he has taken the reins a bit. He has some pillars that he leans on, Agatha and Sir Alaric for one. But he is somewhat alone in his his point of command. Although Lanus is getting up there, getting better at it, which is something he likes very much. Yeah, as I said, he's a specialized character, and that is intentional. He doesn't have many destiny points, like compared to some of the younger characters, like I think Grimmett, for instance, who has I don't know, like an ocean of destiny points. I only have one. I have one destiny point. I have it there because if something really bad happens, I can burn it to survive. Basically, that is why I have that destiny point. Um, yeah. Anything else I should talk about this character? A lot of this has also been discussed in the introduction video. Yeah, the murder of Lorne is something that has been covered up. It is a secret of my character. I decided to make it make it in the voice of God, as I think Griff put it, rather than in his, because it is something that it's a reasonable thing for the rest of the group and you as the viewer to know about him, and because it sort of influences a bit how he acts and how he performs. And even though it's a secret, you're in on the secret, and maybe there are other secrets as well that you don't know about. Who knows? Someone with who like Desim certainly has a lot of secrets. He's been around for a long time and he has been scheming for a long time, so secrets are abound around this character. Anything else? Yeah, it will be interesting to play this. Manica as DM does like his bleak settings. He does like settings with no hope. And Song of Ice and Fire is certainly that setting. As soon as any character becomes a little bit happy, they die violently, or something like incredibly terrible happens to them. And that is something that Malachi enjoys quite a bit. He has frequently taken umbrage with the high fantasy settings of Pathfinder and similar, and wants it much more down to earth, which this certainly is. So I'm very curious to see what he does with the setting. Although I certainly have both dread and anticipation for what's coming. I was worried when the rest of the players presented their characters that I would be the only character and the only player who would take on the responsibility of the political aspects of the house. And since the political aspects of the house are so important in Game of Thrones, this seemed a very daunting task to me. If the only thing I had to back me up was a fighter who was somewhat incapable of intrigue, two slightly damaged and crazy kids, and a foreign assassin, then I felt I was very much alone out there in trying to navigate the house through the minefield that is the Game of Thrones. But these fears have been assuaged, and even though some of the characters might not be the most likely to support intrigues and that kind of navigating, at least the players will. So even if Dessem might be alone out there when it comes to certain certain parts of the story, at least I will have the players' backings, which is something I appreciate very much. I don't personally don't like very much when someone makes a character and then uses that character as an excuse to not be part of the game, or just don't care about the bigger picture of a game. Thankfully. That is not likely to happen. I think we're all very invested in the game. We have been talking about it for quite some time, even since Forsaken Throne started to wind down. We have been talking about doing this, and now we're here. So yeah, I am very excited to go out there, see if we can make House Caladan into the great house it deserves to be, or if we're gonna die horribly trying. If you haven't, I encourage you to watch the introduction video. A lot of answers and stuff to the house and our characters can be found there. If you have any other thoughts and comments or something similar, do feel free to post them below, and I shall try to answer to the best of my ability. I fear I have rambled on. I might have missed some stuff, but if that is a thing, then that is a thing. You can ask below and I can answer, and more stuff will undoubtedly come into light as the story gets underway for real. Yeah, I think that's it. See you around.